Pliny's Ghost Story. Dedicated to twins Sam and Ellie, whose family support us on Patreon. Hello, this is John. We've got loads more non-scary stories. Who Bertie tells me wrote letters in Latin to his friends. .com. This ghost story was written down by an ancient Roman called Pliny, who Bertie a noise like me. There was in Athens a large and roomy house which had a bad reputation. In the dead of night, a noise like the clanking of iron was often heard, and if you listened carefully, it sounded like the rattling of chains, distant at first, but approaching nearer, bit by bit. Soon after, a spectre appeared in the form of an old man, of extremely thin and dirty appearance, with a long beard and messy hair, rattling the chains on his feet and hands. The people who then lived in the house passed their nights wide awake. The lack of sleep ruined their health and made them ill to the point of scaring the life out of them. During the daytime, even when the spirit did not appear, they imagined seeing it before their eyes, and the ghost kept them in perpetual fear. Eventually, they left the house entirely to the ghost, as they said no person in their right mind could live under that roof. However, a wily real estate agent of Athens put out an advertisement offering the house up for sale or rent. It happened that Athenodorus, the philosopher, came to Athens at that time, and the advertisement for the house caught his eye. The low price raised his suspicion. Nonetheless, when he heard the whole story about the ghost, he was far from put off. In fact, he all the more wanted to rent the house, which he did. Towards evening, as darkness fell, he got ready to spend the night in the front part of the house. After calling for a candle, together with his pencil and writing tablets, he ordered his servants to go to bed. He wanted to occupy his mind, so as to prevent his thoughts turning to scary things, such as imaginary noises and spectres. So he kept himself busy, writing with the utmost concentration. The first part of darkness passed in complete silence. Nothing unusual happened, but just after midnight, he heard a clanking of iron and a rattling of chains. He neither lifted up his eyes nor laid down his pen. But in order to keep calm and collected, he tried to persuade himself that the sounds were anything but a ghost. The noise increased and advanced nearer till it seemed at the door, and at last in the room. He looked up and recognized the ghost as it had been described to him. It stood before him, beckoning with its finger like a person who summons another. Athenodorus in reply made a sign with his hand that it should wait a little, and turned his eyes again upon his papers. The ghost then rattled its chains over the head of the philosopher. Athenodorus, looking up and seeing it beckoning, immediately arose, and candle in hand, followed it. The ghost slowly stalked along, as if weighed down by its chains, and turning into the courtyard of the house, suddenly vanished. Athenodorus, now being left alone, made a mark with some grass and leaves on the spot where the spirit had left him. The next day he reported to the magistrates and advised them to order that the spot be dug up. When this was done, the skeleton of a man in chains was found there. The bones were collected together and publicly buried, and the ghost, having been appeased by the proper ceremonies, haunted the house no more. And that is an ancient ghost story from the time of Rome under the Emperor Trajan.
Ya.
One. What form do ghosts appear in? 2. Where did Athens get the info about the haunted house? 3. When did Athens hear a clanking of iron and a rattling of chains? 4. Why did Athenodorus reported to the magistrates and advised them to order that spot to be dug up?
Ini apa ini ya? Tadi dia langsung vanish kan? Ya, kalau nggak salah langsung vanish. Kayaknya ini.
5. Who did Athenodorus call to order that spot to be dug up?
Aduh, pakai hujan lagi.
6. In the dead of the night a noise like the blah 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 of iron was often heard.
Nanti. Bentar, ya Allah hujan.
Seven. It sounded like the blah 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 of chains, distant at first, but approaching nearer bit by bit. 8. A blah 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 appeared in the form of an old man, of extremely thin and dirty appearance. 9. They imagined seeing it before their eyes, and the ghost kept them in blah 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 fear.
Perpetual gitu.
10. It stood before him, blah 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 with its finger.
Like
11. The ghost slowly stalked along, as if blah 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 down by its chains, and, turning into the courtyard of the house, suddenly vanished.
ya, vanish.